construction sites like these are all over Houston.
It's gone by so quick. Doesn't seem like a year, but it's hard to believe that it has been.
And while it may not look like much, these bare pieces of land stand for progress.
Finally seeing, oh, this is where our new house is going to be.
We're finally moving forward, a year later. It's finally coming together.
It's exciting.
Matt Tape decided to knock down his house and start from scratch.
Because our house was built in 1950-something, it wasn't worth raising and remodeling. The quotes we were getting was over $100,000 just to raise it.
It's been good,
Chris Wilcox decided to fix up what he had left.
After a lot of back and forth and counting how much money we had to spend, we just decided to rebuild what's here and hope that it doesn't flood again.
They are just two of thousands across Houston who spent the past year cleaning up,
Excuse all the mess.
dealing with insurance companies,
So it was probably 6 months before you even knew if you'd get any money or not.
making one tough decision
You always have that fear, yeah. Is everything I'm doing a waste, or is this going to happen again?
after another.
And this is like the whole city, all my neighbors, everyone was doing this.
Matt and his wife were celebrating their wedding anniversary in New York when Harvey hit. When they came back, their home was in shambles.
Like the floors were all buckled. All the furniture was completely soaked still.
At the time, their son Eli was just 3 months old.
We prepared his room and everything, and then lost everything more or less. So that was the heartbreaking part.
So basically the water was probably about this high.
Unlike Matt, Chris was in town at a friend's house.
The flood hit midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning. People started calling saying they were stuck in their houses, flooded.
So he and his friends set out to help.
We were just taking everybody to higher ground, dropping them off, turning around and going to get more.
When he turned around to check on his own home,
I got back, everything was underwater. I had a lot of autographed books and pictures and baseball card collections. Pretty much everything in the house I lost. And there was really nothing I could do. Everything was already ruined. So I left again and just continued to help rescue people.
dozens of people for 5 days.
You can see we had just truck bed loads of people in boats and wheelchairs and just so many people in need, We just would go all day and night trying to help everybody we could.
After helping so many people, Chris ended up needing some help himself.
I was living with my sister. They sold their house. So eventually I had to move out of there so they could move to their new home. And then I ended up at another friend of mine's, garage apartment.
Matt and his family bounced around too. His parents' house also flooded, and he says at one point there were 10 people living under one roof. But for these new parents, that had its perks.
It was actually great because we had a lot of babysitters.
For Chris,
Finally, we're seeing some progress.
it meant quality time with the in-laws.
So hopefully they like me. They put up with me for a long time.
These are the kind of stories you hear all over town.
When you're going through it, it's different, but when you can look back on it, those are like good memories,
A year spent laughing and learning,
It's been a year, but I think at the end, we're going to be better off than we were.
building and growing.
It brought me and my wife closer in different ways, and then we also thought about things that we never knew we would, fight about.
So I know this place is a mess. This is the guest room.
And never once doing any of it alone.
Like I say, lucky for family and friends, I had somewhere to stay, and so I'm very fortunate for that.
In Houston, Steph Manacero, Spectrum News.